podcast. Today we are going to go over the AFC East. How you doing, Joe?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing great. You know what would be even better is getting into it. So we'll
Big
start
bet.
with the Buffalo Bills. And we're going to go start with their quarterback, of course, Josh Allen, who really came onto the scene last year. He was around QB 2 to 3, depending on your league. He was a beast through the air and provided some nice value on the ground. Do you want to add anything to that?
There's not much to say except QB1, automatic, lock him in. I'm comfortable taking him like 4th round. That's probably as early as I'll go, though.
Yes, I like the value here, and he returns his offensive line. He gets back a healthy Cody Ford, and you add Emmanuel Sanders into the list, or into the fold, and Gabe Davis, developing. I really think he could pop off to be the QB1, but I would be careful. I would not draft him in early because how many other quarterbacks do you think there are like this? Kyler Murray?
I don't know. I think Kyler Murray's better value because usually the ADP for Josh Allen is somewhere in the 4th.
Yeah, it's right
Kyler
near
Murray's
Mahomes.
dropping to late 5th. So
I don't really see many things hurting Josh Allen this year other than maybe a re-emphasis of the run game, but you're not going to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands.
no. Plus he had
So-
so much value on the ground.
Yes,
So.
I would. And he's a end zone machine if you watch Bills football all the time. Let's move on
course.
to the running backs.
Okay.
Not much to say here for me. I would try to avoid this backfield in general. Zach Moss, Devin Singletary seem primed to be a committee. I would say that Zach Moss is probably the 1A, but at best he's probably a flex value.
Maybe. I mean, if I'm like weak at running back and we get down the board, I'm willing to take a shot on Zach Moss. But-
Yes, I would agree. I think it's worth the gamble. But, Breida will be brought in just for, a change of pace, speed back, and Singletary's still going to factor in the pass game. I really would just try to avoid.
Yeah, me too. Okay. And then Stephon Diggs. I mean, lock him in, wide receiver 1.
Bona fide.
Not much to say there.
There really isn't much more.
Yep.
Now, this is the interesting part. Cole Beasley. Last year, I think everyone's kind of just sleeping on Cole Beasley still. He was like wide receiver. I don't even know where he finished, but he was definitely in wide receiver 3 territory, and he is being treated like, I think his ADP on sleeper.com was like ADP like 56 wide receiver. It's like
It was something crazy like that.
it's
Yeah.
like, why is he being like slept on this hard? Like,
Yeah.
he's an absolute. Well, he's not a machine.
He's a
but
beast, but
he's a nice wide receiver 3.
I'm happy with him in my flex every week, to be honest. I
Mhm.
mean, I think ESPN had a little more respect for him somewhere in like the 8th round or something like that, which I
Mhm.
still think is great value for a player especially in PPR, his caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So last year he had 5 games over 100 yards, and in his career he only had 4. So he's the wide receiver 2 in this offense with Josh Allen. So I don't know, maybe those 100-yard games do come down slightly, but I think you could still expect 3. So I like him as a wide receiver 3 with a little upside to go to a wide receiver 2 some weeks.
Yeah. I mean, avoid in standard leagues for
Yeah,
sure,
I would
but
avoid in standard for sure.
but
Who plays
yeah.
standard?
No one plays standard. Let's be real. Why is it still called standard?
Yeah.
Okay. And we got new addition Emmanuel Sanders on this team. So, I mean, it's not someone I'm really looking to draft.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
I would rather take a chance on Gabe Davis in the late rounds. I
Yeah.
feel like Sanders is brought in as nice. He'll be a better player for the Bills than a fantasy asset. If Diggs or Beasley goes down, I would say that. Actually, I would say that if Beasley goes down, I like Sanders more. And if Diggs went down, I think they could just move Gabe Davis out there.
Yeah, I
But
agree
I
with
just
that.
don't really feel that Emmanuel Sanders is worth a draft pick, to be honest. I feel like there's rookies.
Yeah.
There's shown over the years that rookies, with the 1st or 2nd round value on them, they're going to play.
Yeah, I mean, he returned some value last year if you scooped him up off the waiver wire or, picked him up late in the draft last year. But, I mean, it's not, new offense, new system. There's already weapons there that Josh is comfortable with. So, I mean,
I would
not someone I'm targeting.
really love that. Next, we have Dawson Knox at tight end. No.
I'm out.
Just no. Just no.
I'm out.
Just no. And I listed my diamond in the rough was Gabe Davis. I mean, I would not add him anywhere past the 14th or 15th round.
Oh, yeah.
Even then, I would wait till, depending on how long your draft goes. And honestly, even if he does do well, it's only going to be like maybe wide receiver 3 value.
Yeah, someone at the end of the draft to keep an eye on, but
Because we still have Diggs and Beasley as definitely the top 2 options in this pass offense.
yeah. Okay, moving on to Miami. So QB, we got Tua. I'm not gonna try to say his last name. I always mess it up. So, yeah. So I mean, not someone I'm really looking at in fantasy too much. I don't really see him taking a huge step forward this year.
I like the weapons they brought in. It's all on Tua now.
Yeah.
Can he deliver? I personally believe he can't. But, I mean, if you were willing to take a late round pick on him, I like him as a QB2. He did show last year that he could produce some good weeks, and he had many of these weeks he was dealing with a hampered Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, and Lim Bowden.
Yeah.
Now he's got Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Parker.
Yeah, fully
But
healthy this year. But
I still don't like it.
if he starts off really hot this year, pick him up. But
Yeah.
it's not someone I'm really drafting, even at the end.
The fact that they yanked him out of multiple games last year and put in Fitzpatrick because they almost knew he could not pass them back into the game is very concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So moving on to this backfield.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This is similar to the Bills' backfield, but I actually do have a little bit more faith in Myles Gaskin. Just given his passing ability upside, I feel like that pushes him already into low-end RB2 numbers.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of getting drafted there too.
Mhm.
I mean, he's in that range where, like his risk is factored into his draft position in like, what is it, the 5th round-ish?
5th round, I would
Yeah.
say, yeah.
So, I mean,
That's
that's
close.
kind of factored in. I think he's worth a shot, especially if you go with like a tight end early or you have only one running back. He's someone I'd be comfortable taking him.
I feel like he'll be like David Montgomery last year, not when he blew up at the end of the year, but
Yeah.
like, a guy you can throw in 10 to 12 points. You know what you're going to get. You won't get goose egged, but you're also probably not going to get 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a world where he ends up as a low-end RB1.
Yeah.
Not saying that's going to happen, but I mean, he's the talent to do so.
He could push, if he pushes Ahmed out of those carries and Malcolm Brown is basically nothing, then
Yeah.
he could push that into there, but I think they'll go with more of a committee.
Yeah, I
But-
see Malcolm Brown as more of like a goal line
Yeah.
for them anyway, which
Mhm.
may be rough with him faltering some touchdowns, but it's not something
It's not, yeah.
to worry about too much.
All right, we can move on to the receivers now. We're
Okay.
going to start with Will Fuller, and just a reminder, he is suspended for the first game, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes. But, I mean, he could be really good,
yeah,
be literally a wide receiver, high-end wide receiver, too, just because he does get the downgraded quarterback from Watson to Tua.
yeah.
But I still love the talent. It will be interesting to see if the PEDs he tested positive for affect him this year.
Yeah, it's one of the first years we've seen him really stay healthy last year. And like he had that great breakout year, and you kind of wonder, was it the PEDs or was it really just him having a breakout year?
Yeah, was it just shit luck?
Yeah. Basically.
Honestly, I like him as a wide receiver 3, even with Tua. They're going to feed him the ball. He is the number 1 option, but
Yeah.
I just don't really love Tua throwing him the football.
No, plus there's other targets there,
Yeah.
and they have a decent run game as well. So
Mhm. The next receiver is Devontae Parker, and I don't like Devontae Parker at all. I would just try to avoid him, to be honest.
yeah,
Tua seems to really struggle, or at least he did last year, with like hitting guys and contested catches and be willing to throw it up. Whereas Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle will get separation and
Yeah.
are more likely to go to those guys. I don't know. It's just something I saw.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of those things where you're kind of betting on Tua's development here. Like we just said, we're not really either like too enthusiastic about him taking that step. So
Mhm.
I mean,
Last year, Parker saw 103 targets. That's going to come down. There's
yeah.
no way he matches that with Waddle and Fuller
yeah,
mixed in now.
yeah,
There's no way.
okay, I agree with that for sure. And then okay, so lastly, Jalen Waddle. So I mean, high draft pick. There's a lot you can say about that.
Mhm.
One of those things where you're expecting a slower start to the year.
Yeah, I would definitely, honestly, if somebody drafts him, I'd be okay with that because they're probably going to be really upset with the first 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
He might
he's-
have one good game and they might drop him, and I think that would be when you pick him up because I think his value will come late.
Yeah, I agree. That tends to be how it is with rookies. I mean, it's not likely we're going to see another Justin Jefferson come through where it's one of those
Yeah.
what is his wide receiver 5 finish at the end
Yeah,
of
I
the
think
year or
he was
something
wide receiver
crazy.
5 or
That's
6.
crazy. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Let me check, I
Um,
think.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
But
while you do that, but yeah, I mean, he's someone to take a look at, especially maybe like if he drops in your draft, he's actually going pretty highly, higher than I want him. Um, it's one of those players where, he has chemistry with Tua. We'd like to see that, but
they're just, I feel like I like Brian Flores as a coach, so
yeah.
hopefully they'll just try to, for the first couple of weeks, just try to get the ball in his hands. Not even need be really passing routes. Just get the ball
Yeah.
in this guy's hands.
He could really return value though if he has a breakout year. So, I mean, if you want to take your shot, if you believe in him, he's one of the best receivers in college football.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Justin Jefferson was the wide receiver 5.
jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that's
crazy.
as a rookie.
As a rookie. And he missed like the first 2 games?
He basically missed the first 2 games.
With he's getting integrated in the offense and shit.
Mhm.
So,
all right. Well, next we have Mike Gesicki at tight end, and I don't know. I just feel like Tua hampers Gesicki as well.
yeah.
I would have him more as a high end tight end too.
Mhm.
If I would have a reliable option like maybe a Logan Thomas, Mark Andrews, and then maybe draft Gesicki late as possibly a nice, value to trade or even replace them some weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
I
with
don't really
with
see it.
Fitzpatrick, I had a lot more confidence in like Gesicki getting, some at least touchdowns and some of those like
Yeah.
deeper throws. With Tua, it's kind of a mixed bag. You really don't know what you're getting out of Gesicki this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't really have much to add about.
Well, I
than that, but-
noticed. I think it was that his average target share with Fitz was 6.7 targets, and he averaged 10 fantasy points with
Yeah.
Fitz. With the games that Fitz started, not like the ones that even he came into, because I didn't account for that.
Right.
The ones that Tua started, he averaged 4.2 targets and only 9 fantasy points.
Right. Yeah.
So not a huge decline, but definitely a decline season long.
Yeah, that's
Once you add
significant.
that up.
I think that's significant. Yeah, so not something I'm really taking a
Mhm.
shot on, but okay. I'm gonna move on to New England.
Yes.
Yikes. Yeah, so I mean, not much to say. I mean, Cam Newton gave some really good value at the end of last year, or not the end, the beginning of last year. I mean, everyone was kind of
Yeah. And then I think defenses like really just keyed on his running, and he was a pretty putrid passer.
yeah, it was really
It was
it was
bad.
sad.
It was bad.
It was
Now,
sad in New
the
England.
only thing I have to say is that he got COVID, and then, their defense was not the same, so
Yeah.
so he had to throw a lot more. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like him.
I
really
don't like
this
him.
year.
I feel like he's just kind of there to lose the job to Mac
QBs,
Jones.
yeah. QBs this year, it just feels like, you go past 12 and you still got like Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan. It's like I'd rather have them than Cam Newton.
Oh yeah.
Most weeks. Unless Cam Newton has an incredible matchup, I don't
Yeah.
like it.
I mean, most leagues do single quarterback anyway, so you're not really going to run into a situation where you need Cam Newton, and it's doubtful Mac Jones really scratches the surface as a.
He had 12 rushing touchdowns last year as a quarterback. That is a lot. And he was only QB 18.
Yeah, I think he might have
His-
had like 5 or 6 passing touchdowns
His-
on the year.
Yeah,
It was brutal.
He had an 8.
Jesus.
He had 592 yards and 12 touchdowns from his ground, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's not going up. That's pretty insane.
I mean,
so-
he's going to be there taking touchdowns away. It's just,
Mhm. And did you see the training camp video of him like yossing it over Myers' head by like 5 feet? And there's no defenders
No, I
out
missed
there.
it. Oh,
was
God.
tough.
Oh, God. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's there just to lose the job, in my opinion. I mean, you can't just hand it to Mac coming
Yeah.
in.
And Mac
So-
Jones, I mean, I feel like next year I would be more interested in Mac Jones. I don't like the team.
We'll see him this year, so
Yeah,
we'll have a
we'll
better
see him.
idea of what we're looking at. But yeah,
Do
it's
you wanna
not
move
really
to
a,
the running backs?
yeah, sure. Yeah, not really a quarterback room I'm looking at all though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so running back. So starter presumed is Damian Harris.
He's keeping that job.
He's keeping that job. I mean, there's a Ramondre Stevenson's there now.
But I don't even know when he was taken. He was taken late though, and Sony Michel
Yeah.
is Sony Michel.
Yeah, I think he's like a 4th or 5th round pick or something like that. So like mid rounds Ramondre. I'm not too worried about that. I
I'm
think
not
that
worried.
James White being there still is kind of one of those things where, I mean, Damian Harris is not known for his pass catching ability, but he's not going to get that work no matter if
Yeah.
James White is healthy. He's not getting that work.
Yeah, this is the only running back I would be willing to even consider is Damian Harris,
Yeah.
especially if they move to Mac Jones early because Cam Newton was a suction at the red zone for touchdowns.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He would take so many from Damian Harris.
Yeah, Damian Harris actually he put together some great games last year. I mean, he could give you like I think RB2 value.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really that
He's going
late.
late.
Yeah, there's not that many running backs you can just plug into your lineup that you're picking late that you know you have a floor with.
I think regardless of who's the quarterback, he's going to get 15 totes a game.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's not going to get catches, but
I mean, maybe one or two might help out in
Yeah.
PPR a little bit, but
yeah. But I feel like he's still low end. Just like the way the running backs are nowadays. That you sometimes you can't even get a guy who's going to get 12 carries.
yeah,
Sometimes.
it's crazy. Yeah. So Damian Harris, someone to look at. Everyone else, avoid. If you're crazy, pick up James White late. But
Mm.
yeah, that's a
There's so many running
PPR.
backs with a little bit more potential.
Yeah, right.
All
Crazy PPR.
right, we're gonna move
Sure.
on to the wide receivers,
All right.
and we're gonna start with Nelson Aguilar, who comes over from the Raiders after a pretty good year, 48 catches,
Yeah.
896 yards, 8 TDs on 82 targets.
I mean,
I don't love Derek Carr, but I like Carr a lot more than Cam.
yeah, I have no confidence in this passing offense, if I'm being honest. I mean, Aguilar's he had a breakout year for sure, but
Mhm.
he's just not someone that
I feel
is
like
worth more than a late shot.
Josh McDaniels gonna change the offense this year.
Yeah.
And if they go all in on Cam Newton, this team will run through Damian Harris and the two tight ends. They'll have a bunch of two tight end sets because they didn't pay Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry to rotate in.
No, yeah. I mean, they did give the bag to Aguilar, so
So
there is some potential there. I mean, he is the one on the team. He's been paid to be the one on the team. So, I mean, if there's anybody you're taking, Nelson Aguilar would be the one player.
I would not worry about N'Keal Harry or Kendrick Bourne.
Oh, God. Or
No.
Jacoby Myers.
No,
he
not
gave
even.
He gave you a little bit last year, but I think Nelson Aguilar is taking those few targets that are available.
Yeah, we don't really need to go over the other receivers.
Nah,
Let's
I'm
move
with you.
on to the tight ends, and they obviously made a splash in free agency with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Both coming in, and I don't know. I feel like they're gonna get targeted a lot. I mean, I did the Patriots attempted 436 passing yards or passing attempts last year. I feel like 250-ish will go to the running backs and receivers, and then the rest will fall to the tight ends, which roughly lands around 150, so 80 to 70, whatever
Right, yeah.
split.
Yeah,
don't know.
I felt like the Patriots offense last year, they were a little too run dependent, like especially from their quarterback position. So I could see them doing some short passes, bring out Jonnu and Hunter Henry. I mean, they paid them both.
Yeah,
What,
I'm
like
just,
11 mil a year, 13 mil a
I'm
year.
more worried about it being a thing where it's like each week, is it the Hunter Henry week or is it the Jonnu week?
Yeah,
And you just keep missing on which one.
right. Or like it's like who gets the touchdown,
Yeah,
and then
who gets the touchdown?
maybe the rest they have like 5 points,
Yeah.
like between the two, and it's just not. It's not a situation you really want to be.
It's something I would try to avoid. If
Yeah.
it was just one of them there, though,
Yeah,
I
that's
would have been more. I've definitely
Yeah.
would have been locked in, but
I was really
Oh.
excited when Jonnu signed, and then the next day
Mm.
you see Hunter Henry, and it's just like, oh my god, just one of them would have been,
yeah.
yeah,
All
just killed both of the
Yeah,
top two
it
tight
just-
ends in fantasy.
Yeah.
So in free agency fantasy, I mean,
We can move on to the Jets.
yeah,
Well, at least Adam Gase isn't the coach, but they drafted Zach Wilson second overall, and they added players. They have Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker. They have Denzel Mims. They also brought in Corey Davis and Elijah Moore.
yeah,
I like the direction they see, but for fantasy wise, I don't like Zach Wilson this year. He's in a
Yeah,
division
I mean-
with Brian Flores, Sean McDermott, and Bill Belichick.
yeah.
Probably one of the best defensive coach divisions.
Oh yeah,
the
it's rough. I mean, I think there's good things on the way for the Jets. I think Salah's a good coach. I think he'll be really good as a head coach. I just don't see it translating to any fantasy value, really. I mean, it's worth taking a shot on maybe like Michael Carter. There's
Yeah.
rumors that he could have some value, and then Tevin Coleman might have a couple games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I feel like Coleman will dominate the touches to start and then
Yeah.
slowly lose that job or get injured.
Right. I mean, he's always injured, so
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but
it's sad, but
all right, we can move on to the receivers. They bring in Corey Davis from Tennessee, and last year he went off. He had 92 targets, made it into 65 receptions, 984 yards.
yeah.
And I don't know. He goes from Arthur Smith and Ryan Tannehill from that efficient offense to not saying it's going to be a horrible offense, but it's definitely a downgrade.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I mean, Corey Davis is kind of one of those players where you're never going to view him as the one on a team.
Yeah.
And they paid him a lot of money, and he's with a rookie.
I question his ability to perform at a high level without A.J. Brown, or at least an alpha. I feel like he's he's like a very good wide receiver too in an offense. But
Right.
I feel like once defenses will key on him, it's not going to be good.
Right. And it's not like he's an all-world talent. Well, they'll need to key on him.
And it's not like he has an insane established quarterback throwing him the football.
No, it's definitely going to be rough for this passing offense starting out.
Yeah.
There's potential there, but it's just not.
Yeah, I would have him as more of like a flex play at best.
Right.
I don't even know if he can. He would have to get massive volume.
Yeah, definitely.
Even then.
Okay, and then, I mean, we can talk about Denzel Mims for a second because there was a report coming out of the Jets camp that he was not even running with the first team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of sad. It's kind of one of those things where, the last regime drafted him.
Yeah. And they might not like him as a player, and they might just not like jettison for nothing. But
they didn't invest in him at all, so they don't really have a reason to tie.
Brought in another receiver. They brought in Elijah Moore in the draft,
right?
And they brought in Keelan Cole. I mean,
yeah. Keelan Cole has been doing well in camp apparently too. So
and they've been talking
to keep
about
an eye on.
Jamison Crowder, and he was good last year. He's always been good with Sam Darnold, but they're talking about trading him and basically Elijah Moore stepping into the slot spot.
Right.
So,
I think he did take a pay cut recently, like a couple days ago. That came out. He got like his salary got cut in half, which is
stay with the Jets.
He stayed with the Jets. Yeah, he's a good player. I think he deserves better, but yeah, it's probably not someone that's gonna even return value despite the talent being there. Okay.
And then their tight end, Chris Herndon.
Ooh.
I feel like last year was the year everyone was like, "Oh, Chris Herndon's gonna be like a pretty decent tight end," and it just
I mean, it was make or break for him, and it's
there's people saying like, "Oh, Robert Saleh is gonna they're bringing Mike LaFleur over from the 49ers, I believe, to be their OC,
right?
And they're saying that they're gonna make the offense like the 49ers. Please, let's not compare Chris Herndon to George Kittle. Let's just don't.
Yeah, that would just be. Yeah,
it would just be bad.
It would just be bad if we're not going there.
Yeah, we're not going.
Let's move on. Okay, we're hopping into the AFC North now. Do one more division while we're at it.
All right. We have the Cleveland Browns to start. And this first year they made the playoffs again. What's the first year? I don't remember.
I wish I could tell you. It's the first relevance that they've had recently.
Team they've had in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Last year they were 11-5, and they had some injuries too that kind of, I think, brought that down from maybe a 12-4, 13-3. Really good team. I mean,
I felt like they almost got better.
Yeah.
Odell.
They did.
The need to force feed him the ball. They just ran the ball, ran play action, played okay defense.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't like a target hog on the team. Mm-hmm. It's sad to say, but I mean, Odell's not someone I draft at any position. I don't care how far he drops. I'm not touching him this year.
And Baker as a quarterback, I don't see it.
No, I mean, he's one of those guys that it's a good matchup, and it's one of those really good run teams, really bad, pass defense teams. You can take a shot on him on a streamer, like week to week, or on a bye week. It's worth a shot, but he's talented. There's touchdown upside. But
I would definitely, I should say this. There are players that, let me rephrase this. Baker, I would start ahead of a lot of streamers. Like, I'd trust him over Cam Newton.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's not going to drop a 10.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I mean, if there's someone like Kirk Cousins, I'm taking Kirk Cousins over Baker. Yeah. So it's one of those situations.
We can move on to the running game, just in general.
Yeah.
It's head by Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb, I feel like Nick Chubb is a just a safe RB1.
Yeah.
Like, just really safe. Yeah, and PPR takes a slight ding because Kareem Hunt's there, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even a bad pass catcher necessarily. It's just Kareem Hunt's there.
Yeah, I mean, they do screen him a decent amount, which is good to see. So he does get that PPR bump.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, not really someone that – it doesn't even matter for his value. It's kind of the same thing. It's like a Derrick Henry situation where you're it affects his value a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's an RB1. So it's locked in.
So here's a question. Would you take Nick Chubb or Ezekiel Elliott if you're picking like 8th, 9th in the first round?
Spot? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
curious.
Ooh.
In PPR, obviously.
I'm really high on Zeke this year, so that's tough for me. I haven't done rankings yet, and then so I guess a sole read on this one would probably be.
I would personally go Chubb.
Oh.
Because I wouldn't want to miss, and I know I wouldn't miss with him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I think Zeke has much better upside. I'm definitely saying that.
I'm going to agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Chubb just because I like to be safe with my first 2-3 picks.
You can't miss that.
No. I mean, if Chubb's usually going maybe 6 or 7. So if it comes down to that, that's probably what I do too.
And the other running back in this backfield, Kareem Hunt, I mean, last year Chubb got hurt and he was supposed to go off, but he just didn't really go off. He was RB11 without Chubb, and that was a decent stretch. It wasn't like a 1 or 2 game sample size. It was 5 at least. He was RB11 without Chubb, and he was RB13 with Chubb.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think that's kind of baked into his value now that we know he's not going to dominate without Chubb there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a lot more upside when that was a thing, but yeah, I mean, he's someone that you want to take and maybe have in your flex spot at best.
Mm-hmm.
And he also provides good value over bye weeks, but I mean, I think there's just players with such higher upside that I usually don't draft him, especially in,
trusting him as an RB2 is just, I don't think that is a good idea, really.
No, you can't. I mean, he's someone that you want to take. He's going in that kind of Myles Gaskin range. I would take Gaskin over him. Just because of the upside is so much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
And then the receivers, we can go pretty quick here because their passing game isn't really too potent. We have Jarvis Landry, who came on at the end of the year.
Right.
But, I mean, I still don't. This is a run-first team.
Yeah.
They're not going to force feed the ball to them. I think Odell and Jarvis probably average 6 to 7 targets a game each.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know what you're getting with Jarvis? That is you get some PPR value. He's kind of a short target guy. Not a ton of touchdowns coming his way probably. Talented, but.
I'd actually take Jarvis over Odell.
Me too.
Based on ADP and just the fact that I feel I don't know, it's easier to hit slot receivers than Odell. And the play action game, he's in the slot. He moves quick. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, based on the last maybe, what has it been, 2 years with Odell?
I haven't seen much.
There hasn't been much there. I mean, you know what you're getting with Jarvis. And then I guess Odell, to me, is just one of those players I'm not picking at any point.
He's an injury concern, too.
Yeah, he is.
Last year, I mean, I think he had 1 or 2 games where he popped, and then other than that, it was not good.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just better players.
Yeah, I mean, he's
better receivers.
OBJ is coming off the ACL as well, and it's just kind of one of those things where, who knows, that might be a career ender just based on how his career is going.
Just not even almost not even a career. It's just maybe he becomes less efficient, and he's already getting less targets.
I mean, if you were drafting him, if you were getting the value you got over the last few years, say he never gets hurt, I don't really know how high you're even drafting him then, right? Because he just hasn't been good.
Yeah, I mean, last year he had 2 games over 10 out of the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 he played.
Yeah, that's just not.
He actually played 7, but I'm not gonna
you
down him for the game he tore his ACL.
Yeah, you can't.
I won't do that. And then Rashard Higgins, just no.
Yeah, I think the rest of the passing game's pretty.
You got Austin Hooper at tight end. I feel like he's a guy that you could. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you're in heavy bye weeks and you pray that he gets a touchdown.
Yeah, he's a matchup play at best. I mean, you can stream him if he has a good string of matchups, but it's really not someone that you want.
I wouldn't feel comfortable with him as your tight end.
Yeah, I mean he
Most
went
weeks.
he went off with Matt Ryan 2 years ago, and then last year we were all expecting big things, and it just wasn't there with Baker and the Browns. So I mean, it's one of those things. Plus they drafted Harrison Bryant last year, and he had a couple of decent
Yeah,
games
and they
as
still
well.
got Njoku.
Yeah, that's a situation still, which is just
Like, if
it's sad.
anything, you would expect him to go. Like, here's an example. Last year he played Pittsburgh. You would expect, oh, good defense, right? He got 10 points against them, so that's not horrible for a tight end.
Yeah, that's
not
good.
Extreme. Okay, Houston, wonderful matchup. He had 2.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just going to be inconsistent with
Yeah.
that passing offense. He's a great player, but
You just hope he falls into the end zone.
right, basically. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We'll move on to the Ravens,
Yeah.
and I actually like Lamar Jackson a lot this year in fantasy. Last year I did not because he was getting drafted way too high.
Yeah, I think he's going in a spot where like he returns value most likely and still has QB like 1. He could finish as the top quarterback still. I mean, it's one of those things where
Yeah, I get it. No, it's just I feel like there's the Mahomes, Allen, Murray tier, and then there's the Lamar tier.
Yeah.
With like him, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, but like
yeah.
I mean, he's got the rushing upside, obviously, and I do like the receivers they brought in to help him a little bit. I mean, I know this is still a run-first offense, but
Right.
But I mean, he was playing with Willie Snead last year and Devin Duvernay, and
Yeah.
just not great. And obviously, some of it falls on Lamar, but you know,
Yeah.
I think
No,
that
I
he could,
agree.
I think he could outdo his ADP. Maybe not by a ton, but I think that I would rather draft him at his ADP than Josh or Mahomes even.
I'm kind of more in on those
You're
other
on more-
options. Yeah, just because of the passing game is guaranteed.
Mhm.
Lamar could give you like 10 points if
Yeah.
shit doesn't go right for him. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I got
with
it.
the other team, the
I
other two
understand
players,
that.
it's kind of one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm in, but I would definitely put him 4th underneath, Murray, Josh, and Mahomes.
He also gets the Bengals twice a year.
Oh, that helps. That helps.
Pad the stats. All right, we'll move on to the running backs. We have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Dobbins was a rookie last year.
All right.
Kind of came on at the end of the year. It felt like he was getting the total of the touches.
Yeah.
But Gus Edwards was still factoring in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. With the run first team, it kind of happens where you have to have a bit of a committee. It's clear who's the one. I mean, that's for sure. But I mean, Gus Edwards does provide sneaky value.
And then he sneaks in at the goal line. Honestly, I'm a big Gus Edwards fan in the late rounds.
Yeah.
I like the value. And what if Dobbins goes down?
Right. I think Gus Edwards would be locked in as an RB2 at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little passing upside, but
yeah, that's
there really
true.
isn't much with Dobbins either.
No, I'm not really too in on Dobbins this year either, which is kind of funny because I like I think Edwards is a value, but I don't really see Dobbins as a value,
As a
like where he's
value.
getting
I feel
drafted.
like he's getting drafted exactly where he should be.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
feel
he's
like
a little too high.
Where isn't he? He was third or fourth.
He's like early 3rd, maybe late 2nd. It depends on like how your draft goes.
I wonder
but it's one of those.
how the split goes. It will definitely go in Dobbins' favor. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, Edwards did get paid, but it's clear who's the number one. But I mean, it's just one of those things where there's no like passing work upside. Gus Edwards just took a lot of touchdowns last year too.
Well, I wonder if
Lamar
if
takes
Dobbins
touchdowns too.
surpasses 200, I think he'll outdo his ADP. But will he pass 200?
I don't. I mean,
200
I think
carries.
I think he'll get 200 carries, but I don't really see him. I don't think there's just a ton of upside there where you're drafting him. I'd rather have someone like Gibson or like Cam Akers in that
Gibson
range.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in, but I'm not in.
I'm in it, but I'm not.
Yeah, he's not someone I'm drafting over other guys
I
there.
feel like
I would take Clyde Edwards-Helaire over him too,
I would definitely. Yeah, I would go Hilaire over him just because of the offenses.
and he's going definitely lower than
He's going lower than Dobbins. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is what it is there, but
Okay.
Okay.
We have Sammy Watkins. He's gonna get hurt at some point, and
yeah, he's made a class.
Let's
Let's be real.
I just don't. It's a low passing offense.
Yeah, no, you're literally taking like 20 passes a game and
yeah,
then just giving it to Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, and then
They
Rashad Bateman
and they
and
took Bateman in the first round.
Mark
so
Andrews as
obviously
well.
they
Yeah.
like 'em.
No, I think that out of all of these, I mean,
Out of the
who
three
gives the most
receivers-
value?
Out of the three receivers, I would take Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, true.
I would go Hollywood, Bateman, Watkins, but I not encouraged by that.
No, not at all. I mean, it's just kind of rough. It's rough out there. And
Marquise Brown.
I think the only real passing, kind of like, passing option on this team that you're really into would be Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And he's still not someone I'm like overly excited about just because of like the target share is not even going to, it like no matter how many targets he gets a game, it's still going to be out of maybe 20 to 25 at most.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really see that as a ton of upside or value with Mark Andrews.
Like Marquise Brown was very the touchdowns propelled him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He finished the season. He finished the last 6 games in double digits. The lowest game being 12. But he got a touchdown in all of them except one.
Right.
In one of the games, he got 2 against Cincy.
Yeah.
And
no, he's one of those players. Yeah.
Before that, he had 0 against Tennessee. I don't know if he got injured. He has 3 targets, so he might have got injured. I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't want to sit here and say he didn't, like that was a game, but even so, 3, 6, 7, 9 before that. That's
no, it was not good. He was one of those players I had last year in a league, and I just was frustrated. I ended up cutting him midway, and I was like upset about it, but it was just one of those things where
you gotta just cut bait at that point.
You do, yeah. I needed a player for a bye week or something, and it just, he's not one of those. He's not going to be consistent. He might give you a week in the flex, but
he was wide receiver 36 last year. I feel like he'll fall in the same damn spot.
Yeah,
he'll spread some of these touchdowns around throughout the schedule, but
yeah, it's really not one of those. I
feel like it's a flex play. Like you throw him in if you're.
It's desperate.
If you're an underdog.
Yeah, that's a desperation play.
I just don't. And then Bateman. I mean, Bateman's a rookie.
Maybe end of the
prospect
year.
But I mean, he might be the 3rd passing option because Mark Andrews is the 1.
Right.
Brown is 2. And if Watkins goes down, it's Bateman, but it's in a offensive passes probably 25 times at most. So
it's not. It is really not. One of those
not
teams.
A fan of that.
No, not at all. Yeah. So I mean, we can move on to Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So they went 12-4 last year, but that is deceiving. If you saw any Pittsburgh Steelers games last year, it was not that smooth.
It was not. They should have lost. There was that one game against the Titans.
Right.
They pulled that one out
somehow. Right.
And there was a game against the Browns early in the season. They also pulled that one out of their ass. They should have lost that one too.
Yeah, it was just one like you saw it fall apart at the end of the year.
Just how they looked, and then the wild card game when they got absolutely smoked.
Yeah, it was just one of those years where you're like, I mean, it says 12-4, but it felt like maybe like 8-8 or something like that. It was not good for Pittsburgh.
I would honestly say probably at best it was like a 10-6 vibe, but it was still a tough.
Barely.
They lost to Cincinnati too. Remember that?
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was brutal too.
It's brutal. Yeah, I'm not really too big on this team to be honest. I mean, the running game was awful last year, and they did replace they replaced Connor, brought in Najee in the first round.
See, I'm a big fan of Najee.
I'm in on
there Najee where he's going.
Yeah.
So like, here's an example. Like if he's back, if he like rolls back around.
Yeah.
At from 2nd to 3rd.
Yeah.
I'd take him. Like,
I'm happy with him like mid-3rd.
I would take Akers over him.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I take Gibson. I still have to think about that.
100% Gibson, even with the injury.
Because I'm a little more into Najee. I know that.
Really?
Than you. I'm a little bit.
Wow,
more, I'm a little bit more into the talent.
I feel like that's
Najee,
a hot take.
But like, I don't. The line is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that line is brutal.
Brutal.
They didn't really do too much to solidify it this year either.
They didn't add really much of anything.
Yeah, it's kind of concerning. I mean,
it was already a bottom tier line. They lost Pouncey to retirement. They lost Filer. I think they lost one other guy. Maybe not. Maybe it was just those two. Still.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was just, and then Big Ben. Let's just go back to him quickly. Like, I would say he's a streamer.
Oh, at best,
yeah.
I mean, he has potential with those wide receivers.
Yeah, little value running, obviously.
Oh,
he threw 608 times last year.
Right.
And he only was QB.
I think he was in like 12 to 14 range, which is good, but
not for that many.
not for that many attempts. It came with literally their passing game, like taking like over their run game.
QB 13.
13. Okay, so yeah, I mean he won't do that again.
They're gonna
Let's be real.
feed Najee, I think.
I think they will too. And Najee,
How efficient that will be, who knows?
So Gibson and Najee are going back to back in drafts, and I'm just way more in on Gibson, just because it's one of those things where
I get that. I
with-
totally get that.
with Clyde last year, I mean people were taking him first round. I mean you kind of saw how it went.
yeah, that
you
was
know-
not good.
You know that Gibson's on the way up. I mean he missed games last year and still finished like a high RB2.
Yeah, that
area.
offense is ready to blow.
Yeah, and
even with Fitz.
right, and they're talking. It will be even better with Fitz, I
Yeah.
think. And now they're talking about getting Najee involved in the passing game a little bit.
Yeah,
So
and then the receivers,
yeah,
I feel like it's just a bunch of. Well, I feel like Deontay is definitely the 1A of the group.
yeah,
We have Juju and Claypool is just kind of like
right.
low end wide receiver 2s. I would even push Claypool to a wide receiver 3, looking
Ooh,
at Big
yeah.
Ben's arm.
Right.
Doesn't
mean-
really fit Claypool's strong suit.
I mean, Claypool could compensate for some of the throws coming from Ben, like down
Mhm.
the field, especially if his arm doesn't get any better, which is tough if you have shoulder surgery as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could probably compensate for some of that with his size and catching ability down the field. I mean, he's an athlete, but it's one of those things where you're not really looking at Claypool like any more than a boomer bust, like,
Yeah.
flex play.
I feel like Juju is the most boring wide receiver 2 ever.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
kinda
really
know
like
what
taking Juju.
I feel like Juju is just a guy. You know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get
Right.
low end wide receiver 2 number, probably even pushing wide receiver 3 numbers with the pass
Yeah.
attempts going down.
Right.
I just not a fan.
Yeah.
Deontay is the only one I like.
Deontay, when he was in the game, he got injured a lot
Yeah,
last year,
and the
which was really
drops.
concerning. And the drops, he even got pulled from a game, and that really hurt.
Bills game. Remember
Bills
that
game.
catch? Oh,
Oh,
lack
Jesus.
thereof.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 in a row where
Yeah.
he was wide open, and it was just
It was just bad.
it was bad.
I mean, Deontay, I know in the one mock draft service we do, Deontay is being criminally undervalued.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think in ESPN, he's going a little bit above of
It's
even
like
what I would like.
5th round, which is
Yeah.
where I think he should be, based on like upside. But
I just don't. It's more on Big Ben. It's not on the player, not on
Yeah.
the receivers.
if he can just tune in and just not drop the ball
Yeah.
5
He-
times in a row, then he's golden.
He got 144 targets. I would expect
Right.
each one of these receivers to lose about 20 because I'm gonna guess they throw like 100 less times.
I'm kind of there with you. I mean, it's one of those things where the run game isn't guaranteed with that line.
True.
mean,
true. They
They
could get
did
behind.
invest. Yeah, they invested really highly in Najee, so they're going to feed him the ball.
Mhm.
But it's just one of those things where you don't know how that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there. I'm there with you. I definitely would go Deontay first, Claypool, then Juju last. If I was picking them.
Yeah, definitely based on the upside.
Right.
I feel like if you want a player later
Yeah.
that you know what you're gonna get, it's Juju.
Right. I
It's
mean, it's one
just-
of those things. It depends how your draft goes.
Yeah.
If you take a lot of flyers where
If you
it's
ta- yeah.
people, I mean, it's one of those things. But if you kind of have a lot of
if you have a safe roster
team,
to begin
yeah.
with, I don't think you want to take him, especially later.
no, definitely not.
All right, we got Eric Ebron. Just
Ugh.
nah.
Let's keep it moving.
I mean, he was targeted 91 times last year, and he was only tight end 14.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things
So they're
where
coming down, and
it's not going to stay there.
we can move on.
We can keep
We
it
don't.
moving.
We don't need to. We don't
Yeah.
need to muddle on that.
To
one
dwell
too
on that
much
one,
longer.
yeah. Oh, this is a fun team.
Oh yeah.
I like the Bengals.
Bengals. I love that their defense didn't really improve either,
Right.
because now Joe Burrow's continually gonna have to chuck the ball.
Yeah. Didn't they lose William Jackson
They
too?
lost William Jackson.
Yikes. Yeah.
I mean, they have Jesse Bates, but
Good,
that's
but
about it.
that's it. Yeah.
Didn't
really.
they lose didn't they lose
I
their
know
best pass rusher too?
Carl Lawson. Yeah.
Carl Lawson to the Jets.
Yeah.
That's not good things for their defense.
No, I mean it's good for the offense in the
Mhm.
fantasy game, but
I love Burrow this year. I think he could be a low end QB1.
Yeah.
He was on pace. I think he was on pace for like over 650 attempts.
yeah, he was definitely
It
on,
was
and he was
crazy.
getting better as the year was going. It was sad that he tore his ACL because it would have been an interesting race with him and Justin Herbert for Rookie of the Year, I think.
he averaged 37.4 pass attempts per game.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
I mean, they brought in Riley Reef and this other
Yeah.
guy, Jackson Cameron, to fix the line. That's not going to help.
I don't
too
think it's
much.
going to do too much, but
I mean, Riley Reef might be a slight upgrade to what they had, but not insane.
yeah, I don't know if they're still rocking with Cordy Glenn. Feels great, but
Oh, the Bill's great.
yep.
Wasn't that pick that traded for Josh Allen?
I think it was used to either move up or
It
some
was move up to get something like that.
yeah, with some shit like that. So I mean, thanks Bengals. Okay.
Thanks, Bengals.
Yeah, I definitely see Joe Burrow as like a low end QB1, maybe high end QB2.
Yeah.
If you're drafting like and you just like, late last three, 4 rounds and there's nobody available.
See, that's the thing is that he's falling that far.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would I want like Cam Newton over Joe Burrow?
No, I mean
like,
no, he has so much upside. So
and now
with
we
this
got
offense.
wonderful Joe Mixon.
Oh God.
I will
moving on to
I will
running
almost
back.
never draft ever again. This
No.
man burned me so hard.
Right.
I mean, I get why people like him. I mean, he always when he's in, he gets the volume. It's just the efficiency and
he's an all-world talent, but it just it hasn't worked the last couple of years. You haven't seen it.
And it's like the what if? Like, is it the
Right.
line or is it him? Now, I think it's a little bit of both. Because
Yeah.
Mixon averaged 0.25 yards below his expected yards per attempt,
Right.
which was 8th worst among running backs that received a minimum of 100 carries.
Ugh.
That's not good.
No,
Because
it's been
that
bad.
is expected. That's not the line's fault. That's him.
No.
And he only saw 8% of his carries with 8 men in the box or more.
Yeah, it's bad
8.
there. It's bad. And then
Yeah.
there was reports coming out where he's going to share the third down role,
Yeah.
which is going to take away PPR possibilities. And it's just one of those things where I would I would definitely take him in like the 4th round.
Yeah.
If that was, it would be like Josh Jacobs range.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I kind of put Joe Mixon.
I would
this year.
take him above Josh Jacobs, but not ahead of the whole Akers Hilaire group.
Oh
way.
no,
No way.
I'd still
And that's
taking
where some
Dobbins.
people- done
I'm
some
taking
mocks.
DeAndre Swift. Sure.
Yeah. I've seen some of those mocks, and he's going before those guys. I'm like, no.
No way.
No.
No way. He's like I'd take Chris Carson over Joe Mixon. I
Yeah.
don't understand it.
I don't
It's
get
one of
it.
those
I'll never take Joe Mixon
No,
unless it
never.
was like the 5th round and he was still there.
Yeah. No, that's where that's where he belongs. I don't know what the fantasy community is holding on to with him.
Yeah.
But we can keep
Now,
it moving.
The receivers, I like the receivers. I kind of wish they took Penny Sewell over Jamar Chase. They need to protect Burrow.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't know if they necessarily needed Chase. I mean, that's obviously a great talent.
yeah, I'm sure the thought is Tyler Boyd isn't going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow having that connection from college is going to be really, really, really crucial with his like coming into the league
Mhm.
and not having as much of a, like kind of like a rookie.
Hit the rookie wall.
Yeah, basically one of those things.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Chase and T. Higgins are probably the future. And then
Yeah.
probably thinking about Tyler Boyd. I don't know his contract situation at all.
You can look it up while you're talking.
I'm sure it probably is coming up soon, and maybe they aren't going to be willing to pay him. And why would you pay him if you have 2 receivers like that in the
Yeah.
leagues?
No, I agree. I think that for me this year, T. Higgins is the player I want to draft.
Yeah, I like T. Higgins, but see, I see this is kind of like the Steelers' offense, but better.
Right.
I like in this order. I think it would be. Honestly, I would put T. Higgins as 1, but a close second is Jamar Chase.
Right.
A close second, like
Yeah.
basically neck and neck, and then Tyler Boyd as the last option. But I still think where Boyd is going, you're gonna get value.
I agree. Yeah, he's definitely one of those players where he's getting slept on, and you just you're like, thank you.
Yeah, they're gonna pass the ball a ton.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
No, this run game has never been good.
Mhm.
Even with a talent like Joe Mixon, no matter how much money they invested in him, they want to get this passing game going.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
I mean, if they throw 550 times, which is lower than the pace they were at last year,
right.
how does not each of them see 100 each?
Right, because there's no one at tight end.
Yeah.
They don't really pass the ball to their running backs that much. I mean, Giovanni Bernard's gone.
Yeah.
They don't really have a passing down back like
So,
that.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Is like I don't see a way that any of these guys finish below 100.
Right. I mean,
Maybe
plus-
90 for the
yeah.
lowest.
Maybe. I mean, Boyd has been really consistent the last like 3 years or so. He's one of those players where you
Boyd
just know what you're getting.
It's like the upgraded Juju.
Exactly. Yeah. And then T. Higgins is like the upgraded Deontay. And then Claypool and Chase. Yep.
Yep. And then
Pretty much.
and then we round out the group with Drew Sample. Just no.
No. No. I mean, he's one of those players where he's talented. He just won't get used
Yeah.
if they have all their passing options out there.
And
All right.
You have any other points to add about any of these guys?
Not really.
I have anything else?
I don't have much to say besides, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things this year. You have to take a running back early.
I feel like, honestly, it's
Or two running backs.
Two.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to
But,
take a running back.
I mean, if you don't leave the first round with a running back, and you're not in, I wouldn't blame you if you're in a 12-man and you left the first round without a running back at like
Right.
10 or 11.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't blame you. Maybe grab like, I don't even know, Tyreek Hill, and then
Right.
roll back around and grab like an Eckler.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that, but
No,
like,
not at all.
But if you're sitting at like 4 or 5 and you grab a Devontae Adams,
No,
with the whole
Devontae
Aaron
Adams is still
Rodgers
going with
thing,
his Rodgers. Yeah. He
and
still
then
has the Rodgers ADP.
and Tyreek Hill,
Right.
even Diggs 8th overall. It's just
Ooh, it's a little icky.
yeah,
I'm not really
just-
not too into it
I
either.
mean, I guess you can like hope and pray that a running back rolls back to you, but
Right. There's
yeah.
just so much wide receiver value down the board that you can
Yeah.
kind of suffer and just make the best of it kind of with like
Mhm.
not getting those wide receiver ones.
I would agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can end it off there. Been fun. We'll hop into some more divisions next time.
All right.
Give our thoughts on those. And thank you for listening.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in episode 2. Bye-bye.